If you want to start us streaming, Linda.
I am working on it as we speak. I'll let you know when we're live.
And you can make me a co-host when you get a chance too,
Yes,
please.
Thank you. Lots going on back here. We are live.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our IFW Confirmation Hearings this morning. I'm Jim Dill, and I'm the Senate Chair. And first, we'll start with introductions. So next to me, I see on my screen is Representative Danny Martin.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Good morning, folks. Danny Martin, House 150, located in Northern Aroostook County.
Next is Representative Lyford.
Thank you, Senator. Good morning, everybody. Peter Lyford, District 129, which is Clifton, Eddington, Holden, Northborough, and Vesey.
Representative John Martin.
House District 151, Northwestern Aroostook County.
Representative Landry. You're muted, Representative Landry. All right, we'll move on. Representative Terrio.
Good morning. That was awful. Geez. I'm Representative Tim Terrio. I represent District 79, which is Albion, most of Benton, China, and Unity Plantation.
Representative Mason.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator. I'm Rick Mason. I represent the great folks of Lisbon, District 56.
Representative Hepler.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Allison Hepler. I represent the towns of Aroostook, Georgetown, Pittsburgh, Woolwich, which is where I live, Dresden, and a small part of Richmond.
Representative Neto.
Good morning, Senator. My name is Kathy Neto. I represent the town of Winslow and a small portion of Benton.
Well, to say good morning, everybody. I'm Jim Dill. I represent Senate District number 5, Northern Penobscot County. We're getting some feedback from someplace. I'm not sure where. So make sure you all mute your microphones until you wish to speak. And what we have is 5 confirmations today. And we will go in this order, the way they were posted. It will be Shelby Russo, Kristen Pete, Robert Deshane, Edward Pino, and Albro Copperthwaite. And so with that, I will begin with our first one. And those of you that have been through this before, you know that I have a script to read. And if you haven't, I do have a script to read, so I will read the script. And I will call on, since you're right next to me, Representative Danny Martin, I will call on you just to move the nomination forward, because I'm not sure what Scott's situation is. So,
Got it.
okay, so we will begin. So I will open the confirmation hearings. And our first one, as I said, was Ms. Shelby Russo. So here's our introduction. This is a public hearing of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the purpose of considering the nomination by the governor of Ms. Shelby H. Russo of Phillips for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. Under the law and joint rules of the legislature, this committee is required to hold the public hearing and to recommend confirmation or denial of the nominee by majority vote of the committee members present and voting. As chairs of the committee, we will then send written notices of the committee's recommendation to the President of the Senate. The committee will hear testimony from and have an opportunity to question the governor or her representative, the nominee, and any other persons present who wish to speak for or against the nomination. This meeting is currently being live streamed on the committee's YouTube channel. This means that anyone who is a participant in the meeting via Zoom can be seen and also heard if their microphone is unmuted. People testifying cannot be seen or heard until they are called upon to speak. This meeting will be recorded and available to view on the committee's YouTube channel soon after the meeting has concluded. Next is motion to confirm pursuant to Title III, Section 157 of the main statutes requires there be an affirmative motion to recommend confirmation of the nominee. The chair recognizes Representative Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the Committee on IFW move and recommend to the main Senate confirmation of the following.
Okay, so it has been moved that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend confirmation of Ms. Shelby H. Russo of Phillips for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. The position and title has been posted, so that's already out there. So I will now turn to Joe Bushy for a statement from the governor's office.
Thank you, Senator Dill, Representative Landry, and distinguished members of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. My name is Joe Bushy, and I am the Deputy Director of Boards and Commissions for Governor Mills. I'm here on behalf of the governor to speak in support of the nomination of Shelby H. Russo of Phillips for reappointment as a member of the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. The Advisory Council consists of 10 members representing the 16 counties of the state. I have listed them in my testimony, but I won't read them for you. The commissioner or the commissioner's designee is a non-voting ex officio member of the Advisory Council, but may vote to break a tie. Shelby Russo is currently the member of the Advisory Council representing Franklin and Oxford County. Additionally, she works as the Deputy Director of the Ranger Lakes Heritage Trust, where she has been employed since 1997, holding several other positions, including Volunteer Coordinator, Land Steward, and Director of Stewardship. In her current role, she is involved in the management of 15,000 acres of conservation land for recreation, wildlife habitat, forest health improvement, and generation of revenue as a product of sustainable land management. Ms. Russo is also a wilderness EMT at Franklin Memorial Hospital and North Star EMS, and manages the first aid room as an outdoor emergency care provider for Saddleback Mountain Ski Patrol. She's also a volunteer fly fishing guide for casting recovery and a volunteer firefighter for the town of Phillips. Shelby Russo's vast outdoor experiences, as well as her enthusiasm for fly fishing and hunting, will make her a valuable addition, or continues to make her a valuable addition to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council, and I urge you to support her nomination.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Bushy? All right, seeing none. Again, thank you. Now I would recognize Shelby Russo for the purpose of making a statement.
Everyone hear me okay? There's
Yes.
an awful lot of background noise going on. Good morning, Senator Jim Dill and Representative Scott Landry. I don't see Scott in the video there, but I think he's driving in his car someplace, so maybe he's tuning in. And members of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. My name is Shelby Russo, and I live in Phillips, Maine. And I'm here today to discuss with you my reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. As you know, I've served on the Advisory Council since 2019, hence making this my second 3-year term, or final term. For the past 3 years, my service has included attendance at nearly all the Advisory Council meetings, regular communication with the commissioner, and the department staff, and the Franklin and Oxford County residents and non-resident stakeholders alike. As a natural resources professional in the community in which I serve on the Advisory Council, I'm easily found and approachable. Suggested by the numbers of the emails and the visitors and the phone calls and the texts that I receive, I'm a reliable preliminary source of information and conduit of information from stakeholders to the department and vice versa. Stakeholders and the department both should find assurance that my communication is intact and it's prompt. They should also recognize that I keep an open mind, and therefore my participation in rulemaking decisions is based on fact, science, and also community input, which is extremely important. As a sportswoman, Maine guide, natural resources professional, and Franklin County resident, I recognize the importance of natural resource laws, fish and wildlife management, conservation efforts, recreational opportunities, ecotourism, and the community participation necessary to make these necessary things balance. I look forward to serving another term on the Advisory Council, and I hope that you see my past participation as being an asset to the state of Maine. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none. Chair will now take comments from persons attending the hearing who wish to speak for or against the nomination. Those who wish to speak in person should have already registered. And Linda, do we have anybody that has registered to speak?
Yes, James Cody has registered to speak for all.
Okay. We'll let James in if you would, if he's speaking for them all anyway, so.
I am working on it.
Yep. And as soon as he gets in, I'll read the rest of it here.
He should be on his way now.
Okay, thank you. Morning. Can you hear me? You're muted. There you go.
I can.
Okay.
Good morning.
So I'll continue on my script. So you're here to speak on behalf of Ms. Russo at the moment. So you need to state your name, place of residence, and of course, only comments concerning the suitability of the particular nominee for this position will be considered in order. All the comments will be considered out of order. After you are done speaking, there may be questions from you from the committee. And with that, Mr. Cody.
Thank you, Senator Dill. And just a point of clarification, I was going to speak in favor of all 5 nominees. Is that acceptable, or does that need to happen on a one-by-one basis?
Since it appears that you also are in a car and have pulled over, I think for expediency for you and everybody and safety factors, go right ahead and speak for everybody. And I see most of the committee members are nodding their head yes. So
sure. I appreciate that, and I will say I am stationary. I'm actually parked at an IFW boat launch, so that seems fitting today. Thank you, Senator Dill, Chairman Landry, and members of the committee. My name is James Cody, and I'm here today on behalf of the Maine Professional Guides Association and the Maine Trappers Association to speak in favor of all 5 of today's nominees. We, on behalf of both organizations, we really just wanted to take the time to say how much we appreciate the thoughtfulness that the current members of the Advisory Council have put into a variety of different rulemakings. We appreciate that they have been open-minded and wish to listen to a variety of stakeholders. I just can't emphasize enough how the trait of being thoughtful matters on this particular entity. As you know, both organizations spend a great deal of time in the regulatory rulemaking process with IFW on a variety of different issues, and it's really important to us that we have folks there that are willing to listen, willing to work with us, and come up with balanced policy that seeks to resolve problems and also achieve goals of a number of stakeholders. So with that, I will keep my comments brief. I appreciate the time. And I will say, Mr. Pino is a cousin of mine, so please don't hold that against him.
Or maybe hold it against you, whichever way, right? Are there any questions for Mr. Cody? All right, seeing none, thank you. Linda, do we have anyone else to speak on behalf of our nominee? You're muted, Linda.
Not on behalf of Ms. Rousseau.
Okay, thank you. All public comments having been taken, the committee will now proceed as follows. Review any additional written comments that we have already received and vote on the nomination and notify the President of the Senate pursuant to Title III MSRA Section 157 and the joint rules. The vote must be taken within 35 days. The hearing by the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for Ms. Shelby H. Russo of Phillips for reappointment for the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council is closed. Taking the vote, in accordance with the law, the committee may not take the vote on this nomination sooner than 15 minutes after the close of the public hearing unless all committee members who are present agree. At this time, therefore, is there anybody who does not want to take it immediately? Everybody okay with doing it immediately? Yep. I see no objections. The pending question before the committee is that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend to the Senate of the 130th Maine Legislature that the nomination of Ms. Shelby H. Russo of Phillips for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. In accordance with MSRA Chapter 6, Section 157, with the joint rules of the 130th Legislature, the vote will be taken by the yeas and nays. A vote of yes will mean recommending the confirmation. A vote of no will be to deny the recommendation. Is the committee ready for the question? Linda, please call the roll.
Yes, starting with Representative Lyford.
Yes.
Representative Lyford votes yes. Representative Mason.
Yes.
Representative Mason votes yes. Representative Hepler.
Yes.
Representative Hepler votes yes. Senator Dill.
Yes.
Senator Dill votes yes. Representative Landry is muted.
Yes.
Representative Landry votes yes. Representative Terrio.
Yes.
Representative Terrio votes yes. Representative Danny Martin.
Yes.
Representative Danny Martin votes yes. Representative Alley. You're muted, sir.
Yes.
Representative Alley votes yes. Representative Nadu.
Yes.
Representative Nadu votes yes. And Representative John Martin. You are muted, sir.
Yes.
Representative John Martin votes yes. So that's 10 in favor with 3 absent.
10 members of the committee having voted in the affirmative and none in the negative, with 3 absent. It is the vote of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the nomination of Ms. Shelby H. Russo Phillips for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right. Congratulations again, as we said, and thank you for being willing to do this. Next is Ms. Kristen Pete. You'd let her in, please.
On her way.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There we go. We can hear you and see you. So if everybody is ready, we will continue with our confirmation. I will do a kind of abbreviated version of our script now. This is a public hearing of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the purpose of considering the nomination by the governor of Mrs. Kristen Pete of Winterport for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Don't forget, this is being live streamed, so please make sure you are muted to cut down on background noise. Motion to confirm. Could I have a motion? Where is Representative Danny Martin?
Mr. Chair, I move that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend confirmation of Kristen Pete for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council.
Thank you. The motion has been made, so we will proceed as follows. We will call on Joe Bushy from the governor's office.
Thank you once again, Senator Dill, Representative Landry, and distinguished members of the committee. Again, my name is Joe Bushy, and I'm the Deputy Director of Boards and Commissions for Governor Mills. I'm here on behalf of the governor to speak in support of the nomination of Kristen Pete of Winterport for reappointment as a member of the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. Ms. Pete currently serves as the member representing Knox, Lincoln, and Waldo counties. She's a double graduate of the University of Maine with an undergraduate degree in wildlife ecology and a master's degree in forestry. She's currently a forest land conservation specialist with the Forest Society of Maine, where she works with landowners to develop land conservation projects in the North Woods. She previously spent 13 years as a wildlife biologist with the Penobscot Indian Nation, where she managed the wildlife habitat on all reservation lands. During her time with the Penobscot Nation, she was named Biologist of the Year by the Native American Fish and Wildlife Society. Ms. Pete has also volunteered her time with the department on a coyote genetics study and a study on lynx with the U.S. Geological Survey during their annual woodcock survey. She speaks regularly to schools and other groups on wildlife ecology, wildlife management, and various other topics. On behalf of Governor Mills, I'm pleased to recommend Kristen Pete of Winterport for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council and urge you to support her nomination. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Bushy? All right, seeing none. The chair now recognizes Ms. Kristen Pete for the purpose of making a statement concerning her nomination.
Thank you. Good morning, and I'll apologize for background noise. My dogs have decided to start wrestling at my feet. So, dear Senator Dill, Representative Landry, and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. My name is Kristen Pete from Winterport, and I am here today to discuss with you my nomination to the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. I have served on the council since 2019 as a representative for Waldo, Knox, and Lincoln counties, and I was recently voted in as vice chair. I have loved my work on the advisory council and getting to know various members of IFW staff in my role, and have also enjoyed tagging along with staff on trip to bear dens, fish sampling, and meetings with wardens. They are always extremely professional and accommodating of having another person along for the experience. While I haven't received an enormous amount of public comment directly over the past few years, it always feels very rewarding to answer someone's questions that may put them at ease or connect them with the appropriate staff member. Individuals who reach out via email or phone call are always grateful to have someone on the other end to vent or talk to, and I've met several interesting people who have been fun to get to know. I believe my background with degrees in both wildlife ecology and forestry will continue to help me assist the department in making sustainable management decisions regarding the state's fish and game populations. I also feel strongly that those who do not hunt and fish should be equally represented, and their recreational value should be taken into consideration during the decision-making process as well. The current advisory council is made up of a diverse group of people who represent multiple points of view and have worked well together. In addition to my educational background, I feel my professional background helps me relate to a wide group of outdoor enthusiasts across the state. I previously worked for Penobscot Nation for 13 years as their wildlife and wetlands biologist and maintained relationships in several tribal communities. I now work as the Forest Land Conservation Specialist for the Forest Society of Maine and have gotten to know many colleagues in the broader conservation world. I believe a large network with varying perspectives is added value in a position such as this. Thank you for considering my nomination, and I would be honored to serve another 3-year term on the Advisory Council.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the nominee? All right, seeing none. Linda, do we have any? Oops, we got one. Representative Lyford.
Thank you, Senator. I was just curious where you received your education, that's all.
Yep. So I did my undergraduate degree and my master's at the University of Maine in Orono.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, seeing none. Linda, do we have anybody to testify?
Yes, I've just brought in Claire Perry. She should be appearing momentarily.
Oh, I see her on the bottom. Can you hear me? Claire?
Yes, I was muted. Thank you, Senator Dell.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Make sure you, yep, just before you start, state your name and place of residence, and only comments concerning the suitability of this particular nominee for this particular position will be considered in order. Go right ahead.
Got it. My name is Claire Perry. I've been a 30-year resident in Liberty, Maine, very much out into the wilds of Liberty. And right now, in my older age, I am a resident of Owl's Head. I'm here today because I would like to be on the record of how helpful and utterly professional and knowledgeable I have found my own advisory council member to be, Kristen Pete. I am very grateful for her presence. It is encouraging to have somebody with such an impressive background in science and also with a balanced approach when matters of concern arise. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Perry? All right. Seeing none, again, thank you for your testimony this morning. Linda, do we have anybody else on this nomination?
No.
No. All right. Let's see, where am I? Right here. All public comments having been taken, the committee will now proceed as follows. We'll review anything else. We'll have to take the vote within 35 days. And the hearing by the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for Ms. Kristen Peet of Winniport for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council is closed. And so now it's time to take the vote. Does anybody have any objection to taking the vote immediately? Seeing none, the pending question before the committee is that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend to the Senate of the 130th Maine Legislature that the nomination of Ms. Kristen Peet of Winniport for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. And a vote of yes is affirmative, and a vote of no is negative on the confirmation. Is the committee ready for the question? Yes, they are. Linda, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Representative Lyford.
Yes.
Representative Lyford votes yes. Representative Mason.
Yes.
Representative Mason votes yes. Representative Hepler.
Yes.
Representative Hepler votes yes. Senator Dill.
Yes.
Senator Dill votes yes. Representative Landry is muted. You're muted now. There we go.
Okay.
Representative Landry, you're unmuted. He's having difficulties, I think. Shall I come back?
Yeah.
Okay. Representative Terrio.
Yes.
Looks like Representative Landry is now unmuted.
Yes.
Thank you. Representative Landry votes yes. Representative Terrio votes yes. Representative Danny Martin.
Yes.
Representative Danny Martin votes yes. Representative Alley. You're muted, sir.
Yes.
Representative Alley votes yes. Representative Nadeau.
Yes.
Representative Nadeau votes yes. And Representative John Martin.
Yes.
Representative John Martin votes yes. And again, we have 10 in favor, 3 absent.
10 members of the committee haven't voted in the affirmative and none in the negative, 3 absent. It is the vote of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife that the nomination of Ms. Kristen Peet of Winniport for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on our schedule. Next, we have someone by the name of Robert Deshane.
On his way in.
Probably out birding someplace, so.
I am here.
You're looking good.
Yeah. There.
There you go. I won't say anything now, though, so.
I will.
All right, so we're ready to begin. This is a public hearing of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the purpose of considering the nomination by the Governor of the Honorable Robert S. Deshane of Old Town for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Council. And first, I will call on Representative Danny Martin for the nomination.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend confirmation of my very former colleague, the Honorable Robert Deshane, for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council.
All right, a nomination having been made for confirmation of Mr. Deshane. I will turn to Joe Bushy for the governor's presentation.
Thank you once again. Before I get started, I heard there was some issue with hearing this. I apologize, but my headset isn't working, so hopefully this is okay. Good morning once again, Senator Dill, Representative Landry, and distinguished members of the committee. My name is Joe Bushy, and I'm Deputy Director of Boards and Commissions for Governor Mills. I'm here on behalf of the governor to speak in support of the Honorable Robert Duchesne of Old Town for reappointment as a member of the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. The Honorable Robert Duchesne is currently serving as a member of the council representing Penobscot County. He has a deep understanding and knowledge of Maine's woods and waters. He served 6 terms in the Maine legislature, serving as House Chair of this committee and the Environment and Natural Resources Committee. Bob is also a well-known author, birder, radio personality, and a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame. His wealth of knowledge, experience, and skills are an asset to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council and the people of Maine. On behalf of Governor Mills, I'm pleased to recommend the Honorable Robert S. Duchesne of Old Town for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council and urge you to support his nomination.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Bushy? All right, seeing none. The chair now recognizes the Honorable Robert S. Duchesne for the purpose of making a statement concerning his nomination.
Thank you, Senator Dill, members of the committee, Representative Landry. It's a pleasure to be in front of this committee again. I see not much has changed. It's still hard to get more than one senator in the room. By now, I imagine the committee is rather tired of doing Zoom presentations and meetings together. I will say as a nominee that I like it. I don't have to go to Augusta. I don't have to wear pants. I don't have to bring tribute to the committee. I chaired for 3 sessions or 3 terms, 3 years. I note that there are several termed out members on the committee. So this is your last chance for revenge for anything I've done in the last 18 years. Serving on the Wildlife Advisory Council has been a real pleasure for me. I've discovered just how much I was bumping up against what the committee was, what the department was already doing. I've been doing a lot of their bird atlases for a project that's a 5-year project now. And that took me into the North Woods a lot this winter. So I surveyed the whole area from Ashland over to Clayton Lake and drove by John Martin sporting camps a number of times in the dead of winter. And who else does that? So this has been a real pleasure to serve on this council. I look forward to another 3 years. And then I look forward to being termed out of yet one more thing. And with that, I'd love to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Representative Danny Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mrs. Duchesne, be very careful. Some of us may return.
Are there other questions? Yes, Representative John Martin.
Say, Bob, come back up this summer and you won't have to go through the snow like you have. Have to see you at camp.
You have 4 feet of snow on that road, or you did the last time I went by a couple of weeks ago. Holy moly.
Other questions? All right, seeing none. Linda, do we have anybody to testify on this nomination?
I see no others.
No others, okay. Then we will move on to all public comments having been taken. It is my pleasure to say that the hearing by the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the Honorable Robert S. Duchesne of Old Town for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Committee, Advisory Council, excuse me, is closed. And we'll take the vote. Anyone have any problems with taking the vote immediately? Everybody does? That's strange. Okay. Then we will move forward with the pending question before the committee is that the Joint Standing Committee on Land, Fisheries, and Wildlife recommend to the Senate of the 130th Maine Legislature that the nomination of the Honorable Robert S. Duchesne of Old Town for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council is confirmed. A vote of yes is to confirm, a vote of no is to not confirm. Is everybody ready for the question? Okay, Linda, please call the roll.
Yes, I'm sorry, it's just Representative Martin has his hand raised.
I think he just hasn't taken it down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, just want to be sure. All right, starting with Representative Lyford.
Geez. Yes.
Representative Lyford votes yes. Representative Mason.
Most definitely, yes.
Representative Mason votes yes. Representative Hepler.
Yes.
Representative Hepler votes yes. Senator Dill.
Well, I guess everybody else is saying yes, so I will too, so.
Senator Dill votes yes. Representative Landry.
Yes.
Representative Landry votes yes. Representative Terrio.
With great trepidation, I say yes.
Representative Terrio votes yes. Representative Danny Martin.
I hate to be in the majority, Mr. Chair, so I will say yes.
Representative Danny Martin votes yes.
Somebody trying to be a drumstick.
Representative Alley.
You're muted.
Sir. You're still muted, sir.
Okay. Is it now on?
You're on.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Good.
Is that a yes, sir?
Yes.
Okay, Representative Alley votes yes. Representative Nadu.
Yes.
Representative Nadu votes yes, and Representative John Martin.
Yes.
Representative John Martin votes yes. Again, 10 in favor, 3 absent.
10 members of the committee have voted in the affirmative, none in the negative, with 3 absent. Is the vote of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife that the nomination of the Honorable Robert S. DeShane of Old Town for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. Congratulations. All right. We will move on to our next nominee, which is the Honorable Edward Pino. Good morning, Ed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning.
We can hear you, but we can't see you yet. There we go. All right. This is a public hearing of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the purpose of considering the nomination by the governor of the Honorable Edward Pino of Vassalboro for appointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Council. And I will turn to Mr. Bushy again.
Did you want to do the second first?
Right. Thank you. I'm trying to jump ahead too fast.
I'm happy to go quick, but I don't know if you want to do this.
Danny Martin, Representative Danny Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I move the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend confirmation of the Honorable Edward Pino for appointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council.
All right, it has been moved that Mr. Pino be nominated for appointment to Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. So now I will turn to Mr. Bushy and ask for the governor's statement.
Thank you, Senator Dill. I am most certainly not trying to join the committee. I am here on behalf of the governor to speak in support of the Honorable Edward Pino of Vassalboro for appointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. Mr. Pino is nominated to serve as the member representing Androscoggin, Kennebec, and Saginaw counties. He has more than 30 years of experience working in and around the state capitol, including serving in the House of Representatives from 1988 to 1994 and advocating for the interests of sportsmen and women, landowners, outdoor recreation enthusiasts, and numerous other groups as the owner of Pino Policy Associates. He's a lifetime member of SAM, a member of the Monmouth Fish and Game Association, the China Four Seasons Club, and president of the North Bay Road Association. Mr. Pino's deep understanding of fish and wildlife issues in Maine will make him a valuable addition to the council, and on behalf of Governor Mills, I am pleased to recommend Mr. Pino for appointment to the council and would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Bushy? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes the Honorable Edward Pino for the purpose of making a statement concerning his nomination.
Thank you, Senator Dill, Representative Landry, honorable members of the Inland Fishery and Wildlife Committee. First off, I'd like to thank the governor for my nomination to this, but I also want to thank the committee members for your service being one who sat on the other side of the horseshoe, I understand the demands on family and on yourself and what you've done. I also understand that this is the best committee in Augusta. I've been around 17 of them, and this by far is the most fun committee. When I served, the current speaker would not appoint me to this committee because he knew I'd have too much fun. I won't point any fingers at the Honorable John Martin, but I tried for 3 terms to get on this committee and he would not do it. Being a lifetime sportsman, growing up in Jay, October 1 and April 1 used to be my favorite days. They were the holidays, open fishing and starting of small game hunting. I used to skip school doing it, I'll be honest. Being around the policy making of IFW for 33 years, I've really understood the balancing act that has to happen between sportsmen, eco users, motorized, unmotorized, cyclists. And I think I can add a voice of experience in trying to balance all of those demands on the department. Also, my background in criminal justice, I think, will help with the warden service. Again, I am honored to be nominated and I hope to get your support.
Thank you. Questions? Representative Hepler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Pino. I just have to ask, I noticed in your resume that you live on Arnold Road in Vassalboro and wondered if that was named for Benedict Arnold for the expedition. My husband is a boat builder and aficionado of Benedict Arnold. That's why I asked.
Actually, it's the only other resident who lives on the road is named Bruce Arnold and Vicky.
Oh.
I'm a latecomer. I've only been here 20 years.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Representative Danny Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair and members of the committee, in the year 2003, before my confirmation hearing, Mr. Pino was one of the very few people that, first people that I met. He introduced himself and he also got me to meet every committee member on IFW, and that was very much appreciated. Mr. Pino has a lot of institutional knowledge. I worked with him for 8 years and quite frankly deserves confirmation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none. Linda, do we have anyone to speak on this nomination?
I see no one.
No one. Okay. We will move on then. All comments having been taken, the hearing by the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the Honorable Edward Pino of Vassalboro for appointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council is closed. Does anyone have any objection for taking the vote now? All right, seeing none. The pending question before the committee is that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend to the Senate of the 130th Maine Legislature the nomination of the Honorable Edward Pino of Vassalboro for appointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. A vote of yes is a confirmation, a confirmation. Yes, it will be in favor of recommending. A vote of no will be against the motion. Is everyone ready for the question? All right, Linda, please call the roll.
Yes. Representative Lyford.
Yes.
Representative Lyford votes yes. Representative Mason.
Yes.
Representative Mason votes yes. Representative Hepler.
Yes.
Representative Hepler votes yes. Senator Dill.
Yes.
Senator Dill votes yes. Representative Landry.
Yes.
Representative Landry votes yes. Representative Terrio.
Yes.
Representative Terrio votes yes. Representative Danny Martin. Representative Danny Martin votes yes. Representative Ali. You're muted, sir. You're still muted, sir.
How you doing? How am I doing now?
You're
Good.
doing well.
Good.
Is that a yes, sir?
Yes.
Okay, Representative Ali votes yes. Representative Nedu.
Yes.
Representative Nedu votes yes. Representative John Martin.
Yes, and obviously Ed was always willing to do whatever I asked him to do, so.
Representative
Yeah,
John
and the
Martin
answer is
votes
yes,
yes.
yep.
Yes. And so again, that's 10 in favor and 3 absent.
Okay, 10 members of the committee having voted in the affirmative and none in the negative, and 3 absent is the vote of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. The nomination of the Honorable Edward Pino of Baskerville, appointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. Congratulations.
Thank you, committee.
All right. We will move on. The next one we have is Mr. Albro F. Copperthwaite. Good morning. I see your name. Can you hear me? Yep, you're muted.
I am okay, yes.
Okay, very good. If you're ready, we'll begin.
I am ready.
All right. This is a public hearing of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife for the purpose of considering the nomination by the governor of Mr. Albro F. Copperthwaite.
You kidding? Good. I'm in a hearing.
Of Linnaeus for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. Representative Danny Martin, would you make
Thank
the
you, Mr.
nomination?
Chair. Mr. Chair, I move that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommend confirmation of Albert Copperthwaite for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council.
All right, the nomination has been made for confirmation of the appointment, and I will again call upon Mr. Bushy.
Thank you once again, Senator Dill, Representative Landry, and distinguished members of the committee. For what I believe is the last time today, my name is Joe Bushy, and I am the Deputy Director of Boards and Commissions for Governor Mills. I'm here now on behalf of the governor to speak in support of Albro Copperthwaite of Linnaeus for reappointment as a member of the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council. Mr. Copperthwaite is currently serving as the member representing Aroostook County. He is a graduate of the University of Maine with a degree in Parks Management, and after graduating in 1976, he began employment with North Maine Woods Incorporated and completed a comprehensive land use survey of 2.5 million acres of the Northern Maine Woods. In 1982, he assumed the role of Executive Director of the organization, a position he just recently retired from. He now works part-time as a consultant for Long Road Energy. Mr. Copperthwaite has served on the statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Planning Committee, the Allagash Wilderness Waterways Advisory Committee, and was one of the founders of the Sportsman Landowners Alliance, which he chaired on 2 separate occasions. Mr. Copperthwaite is a lifetime member of the Sportsmen's Alliance of Maine, and an honorary lifetime member of the Maine Professional Guides Association. In 2012, he was honored as the University of Maine School of Forest Resources Distinguished Alumnus. On behalf of Governor Mills, I'm pleased to recommend Albro F. Copperthwaite of Linnaeus for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council, and I urge you to support his nomination. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Bushy?
Thank
All right, seeing none. The chair now recognizes Mr. Albro F. Copperthwaite Jr. for the purpose of making a statement concerning his nomination.
Thank you, Senator Dill, Representative Landry, and members of the Fish and Wildlife Committee. My name is Albro Copperthwaite from Linnaeus, and I'm here today to express my continued interest in serving on Maine's Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Department's Advisory Council. I was first chosen to serve on the council in 2019. As some of you may know from my past appearances before the committee, I served as Executive Director of North Maine Woods for nearly 40 years before retiring in October. In that capacity, I worked with Maine's forest landowners and sportsmen for several decades. Throughout my personal and professional life, I've been closely involved with members of the Warden Service and the department's Fish and Wildlife Management staff, helping them manage our state's fish and wildlife resources. I served on the Landowner Relations Advisory Board for many years. I was also instrumental in the formation of the Sportsman's Forest Landowner Alliance in 1992. During my career, I've served on many committees, including a governor's council to review the laws regulating Maine guides, and also served on a 4-person committee assigned to determine if forest rangers should carry firearms. We received my letter to Governor Mills along with the application for this appointment. In the interest of brevity, I'm not going to repeat all of that history today. At this point in my life, I have spare time in my hands to continue participation at the Advisory Council, which is an ideal opportunity for me to remain engaged with others interested in Maine's outdoors and Maine's fish and wildlife management. I would also like to continue representing the interests of Aroostook County as a resident of the council. And finally, for my many years of involvement with the Fish and Wildlife Department, I believe the department is now in very good hands under Commissioner Camuso and Deputy Commissioner Peabody. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this process.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, seeing none. Linda, do we have anyone to testify or no one? Okay. All public comments having been taken, the hearing by the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife of Mr. Albro F. Copperthwaite Jr. of Linneus for reappointment to Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council is closed. Anyone have any objection of taking the vote immediately? Seeing none. The pending question before the committee is that the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife recommended the Senate of the 130th Maine Legislature the nomination of Mr. Albro F. Copperthwaite Jr. of Linneus for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. Everyone ready for the question? We'll take by the ayes and nays. Linda, please call the roll.
Representative Lyford.
Yes.
Representative Lyford votes yes. Representative Mason.
Yes.
Representative Mason votes yes. Representative Hepler.
Yes.
Representative Hepler votes yes. Senator Dill.
Yes.
Senator Dill votes yes. Representative Landry.
Yes.
Representative Landry votes yes. Representative Terrio.
Yes.
Representative Terrio votes yes. Representative Danny Martin.
Yes.
Representative Danny Martin votes yes. Representative Ali.
Yes.
Representative Ali votes yes. Representative Nadu.
Yes.
Representative Nadu votes yes. And Representative John Martin.
Yes, and Al, great to see you, that you're willing to do this again. And of course, I vote yes.
Representative John Martin votes yes. So again, we have 10 in favor, 3 absent.
10 members of the committee having voted in the affirmative and none in the negative, and 3 being absent is the vote of the Joint Standing Committee on Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, the nomination of Mr. Albro F. Copperthwaite Jr. of Linneus for reappointment to the Inland Fisheries and Wildlife Advisory Council be confirmed. Congratulations.
Thank you all.
All right. Now I see up in my left-hand corner of my screen, both Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner, and somebody has a hand up. So I will call on the duo.
Thank you, Senator Dill, Representative Landry, and members of the committee. I'm Judy Camuso, Commissioner of Maine Fish and Wildlife, and I just want to take a minute and thank all the members who have joined today and are willing to serve on the department's advisory council. This is a very significant role for the department. Their interactions with the public and members of their community is vital to how we manage wildlife in the state. And it's a heavy lift. It's a significant amount of work. When I ask people, I think they don't fully understand how much work it is. So I'm really pleased for all the folks that have agreed to continue to serve now that they sort of understand how much work it involves. And I really enjoy working with Mr. Pino, and he'll soon learn how much fun the council is. So I just wanted to take a minute and thank everybody for being willing to serve on the committee, and thank you all for being here today.
Linda, do you have anything else to come before us today?
I do not.
Well, committee, I think this is our last meeting. So with that, I want to thank everybody, certainly, for putting up with me and the rest of the committee for these past couple of years. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Representative Mason moved, Representative Alley seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And none opposed. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.